Verify. All right. Welcome to HISadvocates .org and .tv. Um, I'm gonna take a break in about 10, 15 minutes just to kind of give people an update how to get information from our websites and where to start and how to start and all that stuff. So I cut the questions um on Monday after 2 hours of talking, and we're going to finish those questions up today just to help you to understand what it is we do. And I want to take just a minute just to kind of help people understand. There's a new movie out, and it's called Sovereign or something. It is taking a couple of sovereign citizens, guys that thought they were free, and twist the story and just trying to make a mockery of what it is we are trying to do in this nation. And I don't want to even malign or align our interest or what we do with any such person that suggests violence or has a mechanism of violence of dealing with law enforcement. The two gentlemen that it's a movie based on a semi-true story. There's a father and a son, and they were going around the country giving seminars and teaching people how to help them with their houses. What is not, I'm sure, going to be talked about in the movie is that they were having success at removing the lender from the house. And there is so much confusion about what actually happened. I really don't know. I don't, supposedly two law enforcement officers died. That is not something I ever want to see. Um, Supposedly they just came out of the car with guns ablazing and firing on these law enforcement. Law enforcement tracked them down and riddled their caravan with hundreds of bullets, killing everything inside, including the animals. Um, and they want to play these things out because, they want you to understand there is no such thing as freedom. They want you to think there is no such thing as um, what an American is, which is truly a sovereign. And says the sovereignty of the king. This is a Supreme Court ruling passed to the state. The state is defined in Black's Law as the people. And once the people understand what republic is, and I just want to take, like maybe 3 minutes just to explain um, the element of what republic is. By the way, um, I am going to the Republic meeting October 17th, or it's October 18th and 19th, one of the two. I'm going to be speaking at it. And this is pretty much the only advertisement I want to be doing for it. Not to say I don't love the Republic. I love the Republic. I just don't know much about the meeting. And I know the leadership is going to be there and they're going to be explaining. Um, Somewhere in the neighborhood of Breckenridge, Colorado. I think I'm saying it right. I could be totally wrong. But go to the Republic for the United States of America.org and look at the advertisement there for the event. You're welcome to come and join us. I got to do a few different flights because I got to get another meeting. I do have a meeting with Jake Claver. You guys know him online as one of the institutions pushing a rate of return, one of the institutions guaranteeing and insuring crypto assets. So we're gonna go meet and talk this next month, and then I'm gonna fly from there over to Colorado. Um, I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of these heads of insurance and um, banks and exchanges, different people that are offering investment returns on capital. I'm going to go meet them in person because I want to bring that information to the VIP members of hisadvocates.org so that we can kind of learn what we need to do. I'm working again 7 days a week right now, just catching up. I had a wonderful vacation this last month and spent a lot of time reflecting and growing personally. And I had a couple scary moments and come to Jesus meetings. And at the same time, if you listen to the last Q&A, you'll understand why. Um, we are, uh, the Republic, and getting your mind wrapped around the Republic. I'm going to be speaking on why Trump or President Geiger or any of these people, cannot make a decision for somebody else's freedom. There's a lot of speculation, and you hear it all the time. And I'm telling you right now, it's disinformation from people who either just don't know or they're direct agents for the federal government. They go from zero to extreme levels of users. I keep losing 4 or 5,000 users a month off my YouTube account. Um, I'll see the stream go up, and the next morning it'll be, go from 400 views, which is not a lot, but it should be more. I mean, I'm not trying to give myself kudos, but it should be a little bit more when you have 85,000 subscribers, and then the next morning it'll be listed at 120 views, and I'm perplexed at how I go negative on views. Um, but when you're talking about the nature of what we're saying, it's super important just to make sure you have an understanding of what it is you're doing, what it is you're a part of, and what does it mean. And I'm always having people talk about wanting to do this, wanting to do that, and they don't have an inkling or a clue behind them of, like, there's no foundation in law. And I made these same mistakes myself, guys. And now I'm 17 years into this and 15 years as his advocates. And we produced a book called What Does It Mean to Be an American? On our YouTube channel, I break down this book and a lot of the case sites within this book to help people to understand dual citizenship on the land, what is a U.S. citizen, and the different areas that we need to hear about in Republic and in our sovereignty um, as a state of the Union citizen. And so my first question I'm going to ask the people in the audience, and I'm going to ask them several questions in Colorado, is how many of you are a member of the Republic? They're all going to raise their hand. I'm going to ask a second question. How many of you are in Republic? They're all going to raise their hand. And I'm going to beg to differ. And I'm going to respectfully explain Republic, just like I'm going to right now. If you are, as one of the founders were, a state citizen, free under God, without contractor obligation, without being trustee of the trust, without being an employee of the United States or holding the office of U.S. citizen, and you have verifiable proof of that with the Department of State, then you are in Republic. Making a claim does not get you into Republic. Playing Republic does not get you into Republic. And I want to read a case site, Afram versus Rusk, 1967. The Supreme Court held that U.S. citizenship, not state citizenship, U.S. citizenship, which you are, cannot be involuntarily revoked by the government, by Trump, by Geiger, by any leader within any group or organization. They don't have the power. Affirming the constitutional protection of the federal citizenship under the 14th Amendment. It also held once acquired citizenship is not a mere privilege granted by the Congress, but a protected political status. I can go on with that same case site on other information pertaining to the fact that let's do the opposite. And basically what that case site is saying, there is no man that can take away your God-given unalienable right from being a free man under God. The opposite applies. There is no man that can take away your God-given unalienable right to contract your sovereignty away to become an employee or subclass 14th Amendment citizen of the United States. And this book shows you there's two citizenships. This book shows you there's one in the Republic and there's one in the de facto. It literally says de facto and de jure, original lawful, not by right, not by law, corporate. And I'm saying this with certainty, with an understanding, a clear understanding of who I am as a state citizen. And yes, we get these negative movies out there that won't gain any traction, will make no money. Negative publicity sometimes can be very good, positive publicity. As a matter of fact, well, I don't want to get into it, but I don't really mind negative publicity. It hurts, it stings a little bit, but the reality is all you got to do is vet it for yourself. Look at this, look at the Supreme Court rulings inside of this, look how it's laid out to you, and then get your mind wrapped around how you can be a part of it, how you can be a true American. And so my goal is to motivate the world to understand Republic isn't a body of people stating we're the Republic. Republic is something you have. It's a jurisdiction that you personally have or do not have. The body of people saying we are the Republic for the United States of America, or any of these clans, groups, cliques, whatever you want to call them, gurus, those people do nothing more than uphold the God-given unalienable rights of the people. Period. So to be in Republic and at a Republic conference, it's a start. But to be in Republic, you must have your political alignment direct under God, just as our founders did, with nothing attaching you to the corporation masquerading as the government for and by the people. So, what does it matter if you have a republic that's been re-inhabited? And I've known this for a long time. This is why I quit the marketing over there. I was head of media over there. I didn't quit the organization. I quit the marketing and I came over and I founded HISAdvocates so that we can build state citizenship one person at a time. And it's taken years to institute the exit strategy, and it's taken the last 10 years to grow the base. Now we're teaching them how to not just be in Republic, but to operate inside of the world and retain your God-given unalienable rights, both digitally, physically, spiritually, morally. And I'm proud that we are at the front of this. I'm proud that God has allowed for us to get as far as we have, with really no complaints, and have this actionable, real, defendable position by the Supreme Court opportunity. Tomorrow we start a podcast tour. We'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to it, speaking across the nation, to help people to understand what is Republic. Not national, not state national, not U.S. citizen, not American national, not what these people, gurus, are. Unfortunately, one is passed and another one is still out there, pretending to be a judge and leading people into a trap and giving no support or help whatsoever, and using these documents that say American national, and then, you know what, on the same affidavit that you're trying to do to become an American national, which is 8 USC 1101 821 national, a person that owes allegiance to a state, they are taking a US code defined term and using it on an affidavit that uses real case laws to support the position of state citizenship. Although you're not making the claim of state citizen, you're making the claim of a national, which is putting you back into the jurisdiction of the United States. Period. And I've done a lot of shows on that. I want to explain this to people. Words are very important. Okay. Now, if you misunderstand words and your attempt originally was to become free, become under God, and you don't necessarily know your position, you can always correct the record. You can always fix something or the narrative to which you have done wrong. So I want to encourage you guys. I made a lot of mistakes in trying to be free, and I did what I had to do to correct those mistakes and now come under God directly, which really is what we have in this nation. There is nothing between you and God as a state citizen, nothing. And people in their questions, which we show over and over, and this isn't at all to put anybody down or their questions, but they show the character nature of just how programmed they are by the continual need to ask permission to make sure it's okay to be free as a child directly under God, to be in republic. And that's why we do this over and over. It's reiteration training 101. You're going to hear me repeat myself. And it might take 5, 10 times for you to hear the same thing to have an aha moment. And it's okay because it took me a long time to have the aha moment. But now we have the path. What does it mean to be an American? The link on YouTube is underneath. Please go buy it. You can listen to it in an hour and a half. You can read it in about an hour and a half. And it makes you clearly feel comfortable about your decision to come out of her. Um, we're picking up some serious names. We're picking up some interesting characters that you would never think would align themselves with the ministry. We have a lot of people that wrote recommendations, if you will, that are in the front of the book. NFL Hall of Famer, doctor, plumbers, Joe Sixpack Americans, pastors, emergency food companies, pilot doctors, naturopathic doctors, you name it, people that are interested in protecting their right to be under God and their rights to be an American. If you didn't get on early, I'm not going to show the video again, but I played a video for a few people that were on a little bit early, giving a different thought process and narrative and something to think about, with the Charlie Kirk thing. There is every level of misinformation, disinformation, conspiracy, you name it, going across the board on this issue. It sure has woken up a lot of people. It's steered a lot of people to the right direction of God. So I don't want to take away what could be considered one of the most serious things that has been weaponized against the American people, if in fact his death is real. And I know a lot of people believe that his death is real, and I'm not going to take away from that. I'm just saying there are so many different thoughts about why certain things are happening and why certain things didn't happen. And I showed a video that just is really highly suspect about his security and their function of what they did and were doing at the time. And um I I don't want to go down that road of conspiracy theories with anybody. I do want to say nothing in this world is what you think it is. And I do want to say that we are lied to by the American media every day, all day long, on both sides of the camp. There isn't a conservative truth-telling media. There isn't a liberal truth-telling media. They are all for the one narrative. And I'm sorry if you don't want to hear that. I can show you where Fox News is seriously compromised. I can show you unequivocally where all the other news organizations are compromised. It is very hard to believe what I just said. People want to think there's only one media outlet. And here comes this great newspaper called Epic Times. And Epic Times does this release of an article on American nationals, which anybody that does that is making allegiance to being synonymous with a U.S. citizen, meaning you're not gaining any ground doing it. You're not gaining any ground doing Anna von Reitz's stuff, doing David Straight's stuff. And again, I'm not trying to put these people down. I'm just saying whether it's a lack of knowledge or they are clearly unwilling to look at the Supreme Court. See, there is nothing in the Supreme Court supporting American national. There's nothing in the Supreme Court supporting state national. It is called State of the Union citizen. So if you're going to make allegiance to something, you want to make allegiance to what our founders made allegiance to, which is what? The Declaration of Independence. So that's what we do. We disavow our relationship with the United States. We show clearly the United States is not the same as the United States of America. We make allegiance to the state to which we were born on, which is a body of people collectively together in this region. And then we affirm and avow ourselves to the Declaration of Independence, which says he is king, he is the sovereign, and we are self-governed, and that we are cutting ties with these nefarious natures of a king that is doing bad things to the people. If you are not a party to the Declaration, you're not a party to anything but what you sign your signature on, driver's license, Social Security, you name it. And so this is why we need the clarity of what it is we are doing wrong. This is why we need the clarity to come out of her or come out of that structure so we can be free. This is why we need to understand what a true title is on a car, what a true deed is on a home. And HISadvocates and myself explain that to people to help people to understand and give them true clarity. Now we've been so busy we haven't been able to make updates to HISadvocates TV. In the next 2 to 3 days, it will be completely updated, and we're working on bringing on full-time staff to start posting things that I think are super pertinent, not conspiracy by nature, but things that I believe are super pertinent for you to consider in your life. Good media sources that I believe 95% right. And you can wing the rest yourself and figure out things. We need to get information in from good sources, and we need to let information go and stop taking information on that's not good. I think that's it for myself right now. What I'm going to do is start. There is an American national, Jesse. I know, but it is synonymous in law. Go look up 8 USC 1101 A21. 8 USC 1101 A21. You can do it on a number of sites, but look at it on Cornell Law website. And then look at the definition. A person that owes allegiance to a state. Click on state. Remember, U.S. code is public law laid out by attorneys. Public law is what Congress puts together. U.S. code is what public law Congress puts together, laid out in a cohesive, understandable, defined term. So when you look at it on Cornell law, a person that owes allegiance to a state, it gives you all the federal territories for what the word state means, and it doesn't give the 50 several states of the Union. Meaning, national is a person that owes allegiance to the United States and its territories. That's what a national is. Public law supports it. U.S. code defines it and confirms it. And all these people under this lady are making allegiance to being a U.S. citizen or synonymous with a U.S. citizen once again. Why not just say, I am a State of the Union citizen under God, which is what our founders were, which is what we have in the Supreme Court defined. There's nothing in the Supreme Court defined by American national, nothing at all. Secret is to be politically domiciled in the 10th Amendment. Okay, Jesse, you don't know what you're talking about. Love you, bro. You don't know what you're talking about. Anybody that says American national, don't listen to them. Don't listen to them respectfully. Okay. And going to a 10th Amendment for political status instead of making correct your political status, I'm not going to listen to that. I'm going to correct the record of the contracts. Remember, the Supreme Court. And what does the Constitution say? Man's rights and the private right to contract is the highest form of law there is. That's what our Constitution says. That's what the Supreme Court says. Why do I need to pay attention to anything else? So if my private right to contract is to be a subclass U.S. citizen or an American national, that's my God-given unalienable right. If my right to private contract is to be a state citizen under God in a republic, protected by law, enforced by the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, that's the one I want to go to. The one where it's already been decided is the protected class. There is nothing protected under a political status, under an American national, under a state national, under you name it, whatever you want to create over there under U.S. code. There's nothing protected over there. You're all synonymous as a U.S. citizen. And so I pray that people get past the misinformation that is being given to people about this American national class status. It's not real, period. Respectfully, Jesse. First question. Are the total elements that comprise adding a dual witness to a form the following? 2 signatures. John, do me a favor. Just go to HISadvocates.org, request what a dual signature with a witness and a notary looks like. We'll give it to you. Okay. Next question. Previously mentioned that signing non-assumption without recourse on a check that is being cashed outside of the regular banks is one of the best ways. Okay, I addressed this one last Monday. You just, I guess, asked it twice or asked it in a different form. Is there liability or exposure for the people that have not left Babylon in a way to dual witness the notary signing or transfer of assets? No. Your status is something that you are recognized for upon application with the Department of State. Remember what the definition of state is, but the Department of State is who issues passports. So when you're requesting a passport and you are saying, I am not a U.S. citizen, I am a state of the Union citizen, and you're making your proper allegiance, the application is sufficient, even if they didn't approve it, but they do. The application is sufficient for proving jurisdiction. Now, how do we prove jurisdiction? Remember something. Anytime you go to a court or a court procedure, there is never oh, we see his driver's license. Oh, we see this. They always go to the applications. They look for your bank card application. They look for your E-Trade account application. They want to see your passport application because it's you signing, I am this. And then there's your provable jurisdiction, and they do a 3-contract rule in order to grab it. So the reality for, when we're all thinking about jurisdiction and the important nature of what jurisdiction means, you just want to stay in alignment with making sure that your Department of State application is first done appropriately, and then going after all these other adhesion contracts. Remember, they use a 3-contract rule. The reason why I keep saying that is because they might use an E-Trade, they might use a bank account, they might use your some other application that you have filled out. And so this is why that we need to take control of these applications. We need to make sure that we've redefined our driver's license, our voters, our Social Security, the IRS, and then we put all this into the public behind an active state, and then we serve the party with constructive notice, which is a copy of the publicly recorded document with what our recourse is for attempting to whatever they might want to do or not do, which they don't. Because what you're in fact doing is using a lawful administrative process to effect a new agreement, and then you're putting it into the public, creating a court of record. This is the record that is permanent pertaining to your position and status. Now, I always say to people, you're only as good as your latest contract, but you can always correct the record, especially on these contracts that are not giving you opportunity to properly class a status for yourself, or they're trying to bring you into a subclass status through the contract. So we can do certain things to gain the contract, and we serve notice after the fact to the contract provider of our status, certified mail, making sure that we have dotted our I's and crossed our T's. For an appointment of a corporate fiduciary. I have no idea what you're talking about, Jesse. Show me a Supreme Court ruling where anything that you have done is reflected. I would love to see it. I would love to see it because I have about 100 showing a status in a class called state citizenship, which is outside of the jurisdiction of the United States, proven right here. That is where I'm going to go. I'm going to go with what the Supreme Court of the United States of America, and I'm going to go with what the founders have done, and I'm going to go with what the majority of the country is called a widely accepted practice. I'm not going to make these little conspiracy things up and go create a political status and put it up in the public with an affidavit and say, "Oh, I'm free. I'm free." I've seen it too much. I made that mistake myself. I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is go correct the record on everything that I did that would reduce my status in my class to anything other than being an American, which is a state citizen. So when you want to say I'm an American, you need to think, okay, I'm an American, but I have a subclass status called United States citizen. Or if you want to think you're an American, the only way that you're a true American is if you are what our founders were, which were state of the Union citizens. You don't have that in any of these arguments as an American national. Not one. It's nowhere. Nowhere to be found. And why people keep on that road of electing to bring forward a United States code, which is a corporate code, to prove jurisdictional status as an American. I have no idea why. I'm not trying to put it down. I already told people many times I made the same mistake myself. But now that I'm corrected and on the other side for 15 years, I'm going to stay the course and make sure people understand state citizenship. And I'm going to make sure people that are espousing the lying about what other opportunities are out there that don't have a widely accepted practice or a Supreme Court supporting what they've done, they need to think through because you can get yourself in a lot of trouble as a sovereign citizen where you have not made allegiance to anything that's in law that's accepted. You're just saying, I'm free, but I hold a driver's license. I'm free, but I have an expired driver's license. I'm free, but I'm driving a car with expired plates. No, you're not free. You're not a king. You're not free. You have canceled expired contracts that need to be dealt with. If you have any of that, it needs to be dealt with. And I'm saying this with complete respect because I got it wrong too. If I fill out a document and I make myself on this document the surety, because this document, let's just say, is a driver's license application, the state of California Department of Motor Vehicles, and I fill this out and I sign it and nobody else signs it, what am I creating? I'm creating a trust. Here's the grantor on the top, state of California. They're the beneficiary. Just read the back. They're benefiting on everything. I'm coming in as a new employee trustee, surety, collateral called driver. Nobody's countersigning this. This is called an adhesion trust. And I am saying I'm obliged to all these subclass citizen things, proving I'm a subclass citizen, proving I'm holding the office of U.S. citizen, proving I'm holding the office of the 14th Amendment, BC, birth certificate, U.S. citizen under UCC 9. So we have to be careful about what we are doing out there. And if you don't have a Supreme Court ruling to show that your way of doing it was the correct way, or the status that you ultimately got after the fact, then you're making it up as you go. Because it's not going to be a widely accepted practice with any Supreme Court ruling supporting your opinion. Respectfully submitted. Next question. Does the revocation of election prevent the IRS from leaning retirement accounts? First, guys, I don't teach people to hang out with their retirement accounts. Theoretically, it's a contract that you made prior to a an agreement that you are now trying to imply that you now have with the IRS, which is a revocation. We do three things with the IRS. We do the revocation, notice of status, and removal of signature. All three are important. IRS can't move anywhere without your approval. They can't set off, they can't do anything. So when you remove your signature from past, present, and future documents, and you do a notice of status and you do the revocation of election, you've properly, lawfully completed an exit strategy. But you've also got to have your status done. This is what people miss out on and forget. This is why people that come through HISadvocates don't get door knocks. This is why people that come through HISadvocates get left alone. It's because they're becoming state citizens. They're getting their status properly affected, and then they're nailing out all their adhesion contracts. So that's number one. Number two, would I keep a retirement account in the middle of a worldwide transfer of wealth and assets? What are they trying to do? Deplete the retirement accounts in America, and your retirement account is going to be one of the ones depleted. Take the hit and go and invest in gold, silver, and crypto. It's a 20% hit max. Or you can take a loan against it and go invest in gold, silver, and crypto. Gold has gone up over about 100% in the last 5 years. Silver has gone up the same, about from 20 to 44 bucks in the last 5 years, because they are constants. Gold is a metal, it cannot change value. The only thing gold is proving is that the dollar is getting weaker. So even if you're making money in your retirement accounts, again, reiteration training, I know I say this all the time because there's somebody new that's going, oh my God, he's right. Groceries are getting more expensive. That's an indication of a weakening dollar. Gold is getting to become a higher value. It cannot change the value. Gold's value is constant. But the dollar is getting weaker, which is driving up the price of gold. So why not pull out of those retirement accounts before they do it? Remember, Trump made an announcement that these people managing these exchanges or managing these retirement funds have the ability to invest in Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin? Straight out of the NSA. What is its purpose and how is it going to serve? I think it's going to hit a big fat zero. I don't know why. I mean, I understand what my opinion is based on, but it's very sneaky. And why they picked Bitcoin, a decentralized crypto with SHA-256 algorithm to create Bitcoin, that is a NSA patent. You got to really think through these things. Yes, XRP, straight up that same line, but XRP is a functional use case. Bitcoin, great for moving drugs, great for paying for the CIA to pay for things and do whatever they want to do. And now what are they doing? They're confiscating crypto, they're confiscating people's retirements. They just did it in Vietnam to 900,000 bank accounts. You don't think this company, this country is next? It's next. It's coming. I don't care who is at the helm. The decisions of who he's putting around him are going to bring us into a digital, cashless based society. And your bank accounts have got to take a hit so that the world can balance out. Period. Next question. What's the step of submitting an active state? I actually answered that one last week, last Monday. Just if I were you, I would go back to HISadvocates and say, we want you to do the active state. We help you with the public recordation of that. Okay, next question. Best way to negotiate and settle old IRS balance. I already answered that on Monday. Why am I reading the same questions? These were all answered. I guess they were posted in two spots. Um, Yeah, guys, if you have questions and you post them to hisadvocates.org, we're taking them from over there and we're answering them live. So there's no need to repost them over here. If it gets to the end of the Q&A and I have not addressed it, go ahead and post them. It's just easier on me. Um, I am going through the living in the private program now. I am new but and somewhat knowledgeable. For a donation, can or is a member willing to help me more one-on-one basis when I need it? We do consultations, Lisa. But really this is a great place to do it. It's free and I get pretty detailed with things. And if you're an active member, there's sometimes forms based on your question that we've already resolved that you can utilize for yourself. So just try to get it done here. If you need to get it done, we can do a consultation for you. Okay. That's the end of the questions from last week. Let me go to one. David, I got you. Hang tight. I saw your email. You were consistent with those emails. Crypto trading is getting more spooky. Did I answer this? There is no privacy. I have a big meeting on this weekend dealing with privacy in crypto. Two-factor authentication now requires a Google app. Hate it. This is why I get everything off the phone and put it on a hard wallet. ID verification now requires a third-party company, face photo, and AI analysis. I agree. Regulations will only get worse. What do you think about this? Get it on a hard wallet. If you're doing two-factor authentication, you're probably buying crypto, which is different. But there are hard wallets that you can buy crypto directly, and you don't need to go through all this rigmarole. You can even transfer crypto with just knowing the codes and having your fingerprint and having the hard wallet plugged into the app. Um, but you're right. I think a lot of this stuff is going to get a lot more difficult to utilize. And I think this is how they're going to scam people from their wealth. People just, they're going to die. They're not going to know how to explain how to get their money off their phone, kind of a thing. I agree. This is why we're going to want to do things a lot easier and learn private side remedies for private citizens. And we'll get there. We will get there. Not your keys, not your coins. Love it. Okay, first question on the Q&A. Um, Lisa, you asked that same question Monday. Told you I'd bring it forward. Next question, David. What's up, David? David L. We received a request from Bank of America Foundation account for considerable information about our foundation. Most of all, information is already known by B of A. Page one. Okay, so I already know this. I have 5 B of A Foundation accounts. Every time I log in, it says I need to do this or I need to call or I need to answer these questions. I ignore them. When it gets down to a point where they ask me to call, I state that question. I call, they say you're on a recorded line. I say, I understand. I'm on a recorded line. What can I do for you? And I asked that I answered the same questions. I've only done it once in 5 years, 10 years on one account out of 5. And it's been doing it to me for 5 years now. And we're going to light them up because we've answered and addressed all the same questions over and over and over and over from the very beginning. Nothing has changed. So the one of the reasons why they do what they do is in the hopes that you address or answer a question differently. Um, and I it's the same thing with the UPS store. The UPS store said, I need you to sign this new 1583. I ignored. They kept asking, I kept walking out. I'll get it to you next time, get it to you next time. And bottom line was I kept forgetting it, and because I knew I didn't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. And I never brought it in, and I still have a contract with them. So it's the same thing, same principle with B of A. Just ignore it, keep operating. And I get them all the time when I'm logging into my phone and they say, they have these list of questions. I just next time bypass it, keep going. Yes, you ignore it as much as you can. And if they fit you in a corner and you need help, let me know. We'll get on the phone together. I just got pulled over the other day for going slow. I got a warning. How should I have signed? I got a wearing or a warning. How should I have signed the certificate? If you got a warning, how did you have to sign anything? It says wearing, but I'm guessing you said warning. I would just sign in cursive non-assumpsit or under duress and leave it at that. There's a lot of different people out there that show if you get a ticket, how to fight the ticket with using federal law procedures for a 3-day contract rule. And they come back and say, no, you signed it. And you say, no, I didn't. It's clearly says under duress. There's never been a signature there. Because what these officers, as everybody knows, are doing is they're forcing a signature. Don't argue with them, but they're forcing a signature under the threat of arrest that you're going to appear to court and pay this fine. And that's not fair. You should have an opportunity to just get issued the ticket and either go to court or not go to court and face the consequences. But to force your signature on something, you need to be clear about what that signature is going to look like for you and how do you get out of a ticket if you want, by not showing up or making a special appearance in writing. And that special appearance can outline the fact that that ticket looks like it has um, a under duress and non-signature um, squarely on the ticket. But the officer may say something if you do that. You may piss him off. I don't know. I always do things non-assumpsit. Thank the officer, tell him he looks great. I appreciate him. Get on the road and move on. But I've only had one ticket in 35 years, so um, a lot of times people, don't know what to do. Jesse says, um, you don't have to put a signature. You sign it last, first, middle, all caps as the agent. Do a conditional acceptance and send it to the SOS law of agency. Um, yeah, I would just do under duress and I'd utilize a 3 contract rule. And there's also ways to have the local county recorder take care of that issue for you. There's guys out there that talk about all this. I don't really get into all that because it's moot. It's just dealing with $100 thing. For me, I don't have time to deal with $100 things or $200 or $500. For me, I'm just going to reserve my rights and wiggle out of it. And I did. I got a ticket a long time ago. The only ticket that I got in 30 years. Anybody can look it up, I'm sure. Um, and I got pulled over for and I got a I don't no, I didn't get pulled over. It's something I found out somehow I got a suspended license. Like, how did I have a suspended license? Well, the judge didn't have any authority over the ticket any longer because of the way that I handled the tickets. Ticket was dismissed, and they suspended my license and gave me a fine of $1,000. And there was nothing attached to it, meaning there was nothing that proved that they had won anything for me to have a fine of $1,000. It was just a random, and I could have ended up fighting it, but I ended up writing a check for $1,000, reinstituting the suspension, and then going to the insurance company and saying, I never had a ticket. The suspension was unlawful or illegal, quote unquote. They looked it up. They did an SR-22 on me and they found out I had no ticket. So I beat the ticket, but those are the games they play. I'm just telling you. So if it were me, I would, instead of playing games and going in and defeating them, what you want to do is remove your signature from the ticket, cancel the contract, and deal with it from a federal cancellation of a 3-day right rule under the law, which federal law is above state law, and it does work. Just FYI. Looking to create a new LLC with which my foundation will be the sole member. When filing for an FEIN with the IRS for the LLC, they will ask the responsible party and the social security number. I'm 75. If you want us to do the tax ID number with no social attached to, that LLC will do it for you for like $150. It's timely. Takes about a week. But you can go and ask us to do it for you. We can for sure get it accomplished, apply, and get it back. No social. And to answer your question, yes, you can be the responsible party and use the social. You put the name and the social, all caps, and you're signing as the agent. You're just delineating yourself on the contract. So you can, if you want to do and apply, you're just operating as the agent for the all caps name and delineating yourself. Next question. Glad to see you're back again. Thank you very much, Joseph. I was trying to explain to my friend about the LPP process, and he brought up some good points. He's wealthy and a smart business person into real estate, among other things. If in the private, he would lose equity in the homes he owns and uses to get cash to reinvest. Why? He uses LLCs and other trust structures to take care of taxes. He pays a little, but not much, so he doesn't care. Okay. He said it's not worth the hassle. He's 49 and looking to retire in a couple years. He doesn't break the law, so the government isn't coming for him. He thinks we are chicken littles and the sky is always falling. What would you say to rebut these presumptions? Hey, they're going to come for every U.S. citizen one day. They're going to come for every person and try to get them injected, try to get them marked. You can play your little game of being rich all you want and staying out of the structure. You can call me Chicken Little, make fun of me. I'm going to be free, and you're going to be in some line getting checked into some FEMA camp. Period. Yeah. And if he's a believer, I just look, no matter what you're doing, if you're in that system and you're supporting, he's paying taxes, no matter what, you got to come out so that you're not supporting a structure to which is, and I don't care who's running it, to which is violent. And look, guys, there's a lot of white elephants that are not being addressed by the federal government. There's 800,000 people that disappear in this nation every year, 543,000 of which are children. Have you heard anything about that being addressed? Have you heard anything about the underground military bases that can house millions and millions of people being addressed? Why? Have you heard anything about what's really going on in child pedophilia across the world and sex trafficking across the world? Have you heard anything? No. No. Why aren't you hearing about the whales? The stuff that is super important. Um, are you listening to what they're trying to accomplish here in this nation? And they're basically coming down the path of the dragon to complete a credit score based system, and your ability to function and move within the system is going to be based on how good of a little boy you are. That's coming. So the freedom idea that you're going to have being a taxpayer, being a U.S. citizen, is going to come to a screeching halt someday soon. I wish and hope I am wrong, but I still was told by the Bible that I shouldn't be the collateral for the debt of anybody. And a U.S. citizen is the collateral and the surety for the debt of a defunct, bankrupted corporation. Why would I want to pledge my life, my fortune, my sacred assets? My LLCs are owned by them. So if I'm running an LLC, they have control, access, go after bank accounts. You can't do that with foundations. If you have, jurisdiction is critical, especially in the coming years. So do what you're going to do. Um, I don't support anything that is outside of my God-given unalienable rights anymore, and I will fight for them. And I will do whatever it takes. And so he's paying more than his fair share of taxes, and he's filing more than his fair share of returns. And yeah, even if, why do you think Trump is making crypto capital gains tax exempt and not dollars? Think about it. What's going to happen with this massive flood of retirement accounts moving from dollars into crypto? Now your earnings are tax exempt. Now they have the power to blanket you out at the flick of a switch on a buy order and a sell off order, bringing Bitcoin from X way up here down to here. This is how they nail everybody. They dump everybody out and then they buy up all those lost positions. And there's a lot of these investment type strategies and companies that are out there that are going to be using your retirement accounts that are going to find ways to lose your money. And everybody's going to want to go into them because you're allowed to now, according to Trump. Big mistake. Unless you're in control of the asset yourself and it's on a hard wallet that you're in control, period. It's a big mistake. And I would not let anybody invest in anything that I didn't 100% agree in. And so these are the whys. I'm not saying there's some advisors out there that are not very good. But even if you're very good and you're at a 15 to 20% rate of return on funds, you still lost 15 to 20% on the dollar's value, which means you didn't make any money the last few years. Your ability to buy something in this nation is completely diminishing. Groceries are twice as much. Cars are becoming more expensive. Tariffs on the cars that we're trying to buy are going to be at a 25, 35% hit. Look, I see a great few years and I also see a crash and I see it happening simultaneously. And then the people that are awake and aware and in ISOs and gold and silver, we've already proven that we're in the position of righteous. We've already proven it. Now, guess what? XRP is being slipped off the block. Coinbase went from holding, I think it was $1 billion in XRP now to next to zero overnight in the last 48 hours. We had a guy do a test. We were able to buy XRP off Coinbase, but they are moving all those assets either into ETFs so that people can start investing in them, which in October, there's going to be a lot of XRP approved ETFs. You're going to see a big change. And when that happens, it's going to be overnight. You're going to open up your phone, you're going to look at your account, you're going to go, oh my gosh. And your whole life's going to change. And I'm going to say, let's huddle, don't sell. There's going to be things that we're going to be able to do in the private side that are going to be worth a lot of money. There's ways to make a lot of money out there, and I'm really excited about that. Anyway, sorry for the long-winded answer, Joseph. What's up, Jeffrey? What crypto do you suggest? Still XRP, something better, something equal? I'm going to meet a guy on something called Pulse Chain, which is supposed to be the private side equivalent for the public side ISO. I think if you're going to get it fast. But I'm still staying strong on the ISO 20022 compliancy currencies. Those are absolute shoe-in winners. And to the tune of where, you can have 100x on your returns, 1000x on your returns over time. Anyway, XRP, love. Strong position on XRP. I've been a strong position holder on XRPs for 7 years, and I never wavered my position. Never. And it's the only currency labeled as a currency by the SEC in the entirety of the world. It's all coming together, baby. Pulse chain. Yeah, you got to teach people how to buy Pulse chain. Next question. Can a 2FA authentication with hard keys, which actually helps security instead of adding weaknesses like linking biometrics, phone, email, which are infamously insecure? FYI, I have to type a code every time I want to check something on here. I don't do facial or biometrics on this phone. I only do code. Secondly, there's nothing wrong with a 2FA authentication tied to a hard wallet. Biometrics generally have difficulty working on some of these hard wallets. I've tested a few. But a code with a password is like a 2F authentication. Just remember something, like I can't begin to tell you how many people, they get their keys in their hands and they go with their phone and they go click, take a picture of the keys. Do you know how many apps you've authorized to look at your pictures? Look, your codes handwritten, your keys handwritten, your passwords handwritten. And make sure that you have a system and a structure to where nobody's going to find it. Keep it all off a computer, all of it. Keep it in a wallet, keep it in a book, keep it in whatever, and give good, clear instructions on all of it for a survivor. But to answer your question, yeah, the problem with the 2FA, if you're utilizing a phone number, is people are paying Sprint, T, Mobile, whatever. They're paying them to access your code, 10,000 bucks to know what your code is to change out your um your chip. And so somebody gets your code, now they program your a chip with your phone number into their phone. Now they're 2FAing all day long with your phone number. So that's dangerous. Um, Email, same thing. So we lots of money gets stolen that way. Lots and lots of money gets stolen that way. And that's how they go after specific individuals. This is why passwords that are extended and long, along with and even biometrics on a hard wallet, it can only be adjusted with a firmware update. Um, which scares me. I've had a firmware update on a hard wallet for 2 months. I'm not wanting to do it. And by the way, I had a phishing attack on my crypto.com account with another piece of software that looks almost identical to crypto.com, and was asking me for the keys on a restoration. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Anyway, guys, we're all going to learn a lot. We're all just going to stay in touch and communication, and we're going to grow a lot. Next question. I want to put a paid off car in a private trust. Can HISA help me with that? Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I put it in a foundation, not a private trust, the foundation that we create for you, and we actually give you a document to transfer it. And the best way to do it is just go to AAA, and we'll tell you how to sign it. It's no big deal, but transfer everything to the foundation through AAA. They help you out. No lines, no headaches, no hiccups. Yes. I can't tell you who I'm meeting in the Pulse Chain ecosystem. Somebody important. Thank you, Patrick, for ordering 2 books. Guys, go online right now. This is our power. This is the unequivocal facts. We give a good presentation, and it's very short and very quick. You can get this done in a night. All right. Last question. When I apply for state citizen passport at the post office, do I clear that I am a citizen of? Nope. Do I have to swear allegiance to the state to which I was born on in California? Nope. I don't want to swear allegiance to Cal. There's nothing wrong with swearing allegiance to the state of California by definition in your mind, which is the state to which you were born on. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And making allegiance to the all cap state corporate, there's something wrong with that. But it's, and they're not doing that. I forget the exact what they do. Um, I think they just make sure you're attesting to the person that filled out the application. I'm not sure, but I don't think any of that's going to happen. Plus, besides, all that matters is what is your written form, which is right there on your passport application. Cool. All right, guys. Republic meeting 18th and 19th of October. I believe it's Breckenridge, Colorado. Go to the Republic website, Republic for the United States of America.org. Get your tickets. I'm going to be speaking at it, probably for a couple hours, I'm guessing. And would love to see you. I'm trying to buy a bunch of books. Amazon will not sell me my own books. I can buy one or two, but I'm trying to buy a bunch at the discounted rate so I can get out there and sign them and do a little bit of a book tour. But they want my ID, and I've done it 3 times, and they keep blowing me out. Isn't that funny? Isn't that, yeah, whatever. Anyway, God bless you guys. Have a great week. 2 days prayer call. I'm so happy I get to pray with you guys again on Saturday. Um, Monday, uh, Q&A. Tuesday, the VIP meetings are Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 a.m. I'm really loving that. I'm loving hanging out with you guys, talking, giving you some experiences of what I'm dealing with, what I'm watching, what I'm hearing. Super important. There's some really good material that you guys got to be listening to. Oh my God, we're so there. We're there. It's here. When it happens, for the love of God, shut your mouth. Okay? Don't say I'm rich to anybody. Look at your wife, give her a big hug, squeeze her butt, take her to the bed, do what you got to do. You did it. You got it. Shut your mouth. Don't buy the exotics. Just wait it out. Lay low. Keep your head down. Let's strategize together and figure out ways to make sure that you're doing it right. You're doing it well, and you don't end up with zero like all the lottery winners do. God bless you guys. Have a great week. I will see you Saturday, hopefully for the prayer call, 9 a.m. Pacific. Enjoy your week.